Beautiful people. It is your girl, Lani G, back with another episode of Lani G Speaks, the podcast. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And we're talking about something that I'm really, really ready to get into, okay? And it is your choice, the power of your choices. Okay, so there are two titles that I'm working with right now. But I really want to focus on the era of singlehood as a woman. It's woes and it's wins. And I wanted to talk about this, what prompted this conversation. If you follow me on TikTok, you probably already saw me yap about it today. On TikTok, my name is at Miss Yappington, MZ Yappington. And I was talking about how I've been seeing a lot more women publicly divorcing from their partners, right? So like some of these people are married, some of these people are not. But like the public like separation of themselves with that person that they've made like a social media platform around or whatever. And not only that piece of the public divorce, because some of them are just like loud and proud about it, like, yeah, I'm not with that person anymore. I've seen that in recent years, but what I've been seeing more of is this peeling back of what we didn't see, right? Peeling back the curtain, opening the veil that, oh, this person was abusive. Oh, this person was narcissistic. Oh, this person, did all these things to me that you all didn't see. And I can't take it anymore. So I'm no longer going to be with them. One, I feel multiple ways about this. The first way I feel about it is excited for these women to liberate themselves, right? Y'all know me. I'm all about women's liberation. And a lot of stuff I have been saying is from Black women. So, more emphatically, I am supporting Black women's liberation, especially as it pertains to taking and dealing with some of those things like domestic violence or narcissism and just bad partners. I think Black women deserve the world. And yes, so that's one feeling about it. Another feeling about it is just like a deep sadness that they felt they had to do this, that they felt that they had to stay in that relationship for as long as they stayed in it, maybe because they had the social media platform and because they were worried about what people were going to say, or maybe because they didn't have community they could lean on that they felt would really care what was going on with them. Like, there are many things that go through my mind when I see the proclamation of, okay, this is what happened and this is what I'm doing. So to me, it made me think about also just this trend that I'm seeing and that is being documented, that women are choosing to stay single and or choosing to divorce more often. I did look up it. Oh, shout out to Kim at Bungalow, downtown Houston, because we were in a very good conversation. I went out with my homegirl. We were just happened to start talking about women being women, dating in this era, and just like what comes with that and like how exhausting it is. And we started talking about divorce. And so she brought up to me, and I had to look it up to verify the stat, because I love people, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes we just take stuff on the internet, we run with it. But I did verify it on the internet, but it is what it is. I looked it up too. And 69 to 70% of cases, of divorce cases, are filed by women. So overwhelmingly, more than half of them are initiated by women. And I think that's very telling, because generationally, I feel like women like millennial and below are much in a more secure space on our own. We're able to take care of ourselves financially and otherwise. We're able to do things that we weren't able to do before. And it's interesting that women are now separating from men because we don't need them in that sense. Now, I do not want to hear a whole bunch of men. I don't think even men listen to my podcast, but I don't want this to be perceived as like I don't want to add to the narrative that women don't need men, because I do believe that we need each other. Okay. There are different things that we need each other for. But when it comes to self-sustenance, right, and being able to do day-to-day things and take care of yourself separate from a man, that is something that is kind of new. Like, on a larger scale, it's kind of new for women to have that right and that level of empowerment to be able to do for ourselves and go get a bank account, right? Like, have a high paying job, be able to invest, be able to own things. Like, that's fairly a new concept and reality in this country. So I don't know about other countries. I know I live in America, okay? And so to me, I think it's extremely telling that when the men are not necessary for our livelihood, we are not choosing to be with them. And why is that? My belief is that there are a lot of men, more often than not, I'm not saying all, there are a lot of men who simply are not good partners. They don't want to be good partners, or maybe they do want to be, don't know how to be. I don't know. But there's a reason why so many women are not wanting to be in partnership with men. And this is not saying that the women that, realize that they're actually not into men, that happens as well. We're not going to conflate the two. We're saying that what I'm saying is we should pay attention to this. And as women who may be single, who are interested in dating, but you are just sick of what you're seeing, I'm with you. And I want to talk to you about that today. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a background into why this topic even came up for me. It's honestly been something I've been thinking about for months, talking about for months, but I couldn't really wrap my mind around what it is that I wanted to say. But seeing more of these videos of women divorcing their partners publicly really gave me, I guess, the push to go ahead and have the conversation. And also the woman that I met, Kim at Bungalow, who literally was like, you should do a podcast episode on that. I was like, okay, girl. So I will start with my story as it relates to being single. So I have been the single friend, the single sister, the single whatever, for single daughter for most of my life. I had the longest relationship I've ever had. I'm 32. The longest relationship I've ever had was 8 months. Outside of that, it was pretty inconsistent. Like, I would have talking stages and it wouldn't really lead to commitment, and like, things like that. And part of that has been because I didn't feel like they were providing what it is that I wanted or needed. Also, I did have a lot of trauma, daddy issues that I was working through. But for the most part, it was because I was like, I don't want to settle. This doesn't feel good. And the 8-month relationship that I was in, the reason it even lasted 8 months is because I was sitting with the conflict in my mind of, you need to experience a relationship. You're this old. I was 28 at the time. You're this old. Why? I'm not old, but like, I'm that age, and you haven't had a long-term relationship. Like, something like your standards may be too high, because I was being told that by family. I was being told that by society, my peers, like, maybe you're too picky. All the reasons for why I'm in the wrong and not the men are not measuring up, and so I fell victim to hearing that. And I was letting a lot of things slide in that relationship. And so it ended in my Saturn return, actually. And I feel like that was absolutely intentional. I was needing to wake up and learn the lesson that, like, I deserve better. And if what I want is not right in front of me, then I need to wait. And so that happened like right after I hosted my first retreat, and we did so much reflecting. Like, I led them through a lot of reflecting, but I also participated because that's just the way I host things. That's the way I do my events. I feel like there's more for me to learn, more for me to uncover. And yeah, but that's besides the point. And so, as a person who has spent most of her life single and unattached, not in a relationship, not really in, situationships either, it has been difficult. Like, I have seasons where I'm like, I love it here. And I have seasons where I'm like, girl, what the fuck is going on? And so I crave partnership, right? I crave ultimately marriage, but I will not settle. And that's not going to change. And so, regardless of how many times I was told that my standards were too high, things like that, I'm now at 32 seeing people who are my peers, or people who were once telling me that my standards were too high, also separating from their partners, right? Separating from what they feel like is less than they deserve, which is, although I feel sad for them, because that's like, It's hard to break up with somebody. It's affirming for me in that, like, I was not wrong for not settling. I was not wrong for requiring more of somebody who I want to spend time with and who I feel like deserves to spend time with me, because I know my value, I know who I am. And that's only been increasing over time, right? And so, with that though, it doesn't mean that there is not a struggle of not settling. So I took some notes before getting on here today, and I really want to be. If you listen to my podcast before, you know that sometimes I can go on a tangent. So my notes are here to keep me on track. And so the first part of this that I want to talk about is the struggle of not settling, because that is a reality as well. Like, people say all the time, like, we see it on the internet. Oh, and I'm one of the people who do it. I will tell y'all, don't settle. Don't be accepted less than you deserve. And that is not always easy. So I want to talk about how it is hard. Like, let's sit in the reality of it for a minute. So one, why is it a struggle when you're not settling? Because you will be alone when you want companionship. When you are not settling, you don't tolerate certain things, which means that certain people, men, if you date men, this is a heteronormative conversation, because I only have dated men. I haven't dated women. So, like, I don't have that experience. So that is what I would speak to. And so when I wanted to be wrapped up with a man, hugged up, cuddled up with a man, I didn't have one to call because I had cut them all off because they were all not what I was looking for. And it just can get lonely at times. It can get lonely. You can feel like you're insane. And as a person who believes that I desire something because I'm meant to have it, I started to feel like maybe I'm not supposed to have it. Maybe I am supposed to be alone. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe my standards are too high. Maybe all the things, right? And it's kind of like a mind-boggling, very frustrating situation to be in. Another part of the struggle of not settling, I would say for me, this may not be true for all, but I have had some, homegirls. I said girl, I was going to say girlfriends, but homegirls that have said the same thing, where you develop this disdain for men. There is a disgust that you start to have in yourself. And I call it like your Nas era, your niggas ain't shit era, where everybody, not a man can turn your head. They all are nasty. They all are trash under your shoe. Like that phase does happen. And I think that is part of the healing, because I will say, as a woman who does have daddy issues, I don't want to assume that that's the case for every woman who wants to be in her era of singlehood, or just happens to be in her era of singlehood because of life circumstances. I don't want to say that that's your story, but I feel like that is a natural occurrence, and that is healthy to get out all of your negative feelings that you got, right? Because it doesn't help nobody to hold in how you feel. Now, I'm not saying go up to these men and tell them they ain't shit, right? But I think processing within yourself, I'm an advocate for journaling, whatever form that takes. I'm an advocate for therapy and working through those issues that you may have with men. And what is your story with men, right? Like, what has that been for you? And how do your dating habits either reflect that or help you to heal that story, right? And so for me, I did have a long period as well of, I was in my Nas era for a very, very, very long time. And that is partly due to niggas actually not being shit. And also I just was not interested, because I just felt like men were just like, yuck, and I still have some of those days, but I'm more in another phase now. But anyway, so that's something that can happen in your struggle of not selling, a part that I think is necessary. Again, I say, then there's the yo-yo that happens, especially as you start to get older. I don't know about y'all, but I'm a millennial girl. Mercury is kicking my ass. Millennial woman. And I know other millennial women that, we're in our 30s now, right? Some older millennials are already in their 40s and shit. Okay, I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking about, I guess, the young millennials. And it's just like, man, I'm in my 30s. I don't feel old, but it's like, I want to date. I want to have a little boo. You feel me? And there's a back and forth that I've experienced where I put myself out there, I'm vulnerable, and then these men be sucking. And I'd be like, you're not even worth my vulnerability. You're not even worth the conversation. And then I go back into hermit mode and I don't talk to nary a soul. I don't go outside. It's not like that's the only thing that triggered me for being in the house. Like sometimes people just get on my nerves, generally speaking. But as it pertains to dating, like I'm not going out, I'm not socializing, I'm not trying to be seen, I'm not, in the rooms where people are, mingling and all the things. I'm just like, I'm not interested. And it's a constant loop of that. Another loop that I experience, like this sometimes can be traumatic, is the cycle of letting your standards slip. Like once you get tired of the trying, being vulnerable and not working out, or trying and dating someone different out of your comfort zone, and like it doesn't work out. Like, well, maybe my standards are too high. You have that conversation, or you see somebody online talking about some, you see the mini dating coaches, you see just all the noise convinces you that you need to change your standards. You need to change what you expect from people. You need to change your boundaries in order to be more accepting of just what is out there. That can be a traumatic cycle, because something that we end up doing, me included, that I've ended up doing, is ignoring my intuition when it came to men, giving men the benefit of the doubt. And not sorry, some men are just generally unsafe. Some men do not deserve the benefit of the doubt. Some men will put you in harm's way because you have ignored yourself for the sake of being a more appeasable woman, for the sake of being a more lovable woman. And I'm here to tell you that you are lovable exactly as you are. Even if you don't change nothing else from you today, you still deserve love. And I believe that if you're here, you're on your journey of healing and evolution. So I know that you will always be on that. Like your intention is to be whole, full, kind, loving, right? Like if you listen to this, you are that type of a woman. And so I don't think that your intention is to be mean-spirited or anything with anyone else. And so it's very hard to go against yourself and say, well, let me just see, to then be disappointed and maybe even put in harm's way. So those are the things that I feel like are very big as part of the struggle of not settling, because it's not easy to not settle. I don't ever want to say that to you and make you think like it's just some easy thing. But if you've been listening to this podcast for as long as I've been doing it, you know that the healing journey in general is not easy. But this part of it, as it pertains to dating and being a single woman, that is what I have found to be the struggle of being a single woman and choosing to not settle. But I want to go into what is the power of not settling, because there is power in that. The first thing is knowing that what you say no to, you're also saying yes to something else. I love that realization, because we have the times where it's like, well, I'm in my waiting season, and if I can't have my husband yet, or if I can't have that long-term partnership yet, I'll just settle for maybe some pain from somebody who don't respect you, somebody who don't value, somebody who don't whatever. You're settling for that. And so as much as in your mind you're saying, I'm doing this for now, you are still accepting. Like the universe works in yeses and nos, in my opinion, in my experience. And so whatever you can allow yourself to consistently allow, there will be more of. And so if you have someone that is disrespectful towards you, if you have someone that doesn't treat you as valuable, even though you're only allowing them into one part of you, which I think having sex with someone is a big part of you, but if that is only the one small decision where like you're not investing your time and energy into that person outside of sexual relations with them, you are still saying yes to that. And you're saying no to waiting for your thing. Just like if you knew you ordered chicken and they were like, well, the steak is ready, but you're like, but I really wanted chicken. You say yes to the steak, you're not going to get the chicken. Because they're going to come to the table, see, oh, you already got some food. Now you full off that food. You know what I'm saying? I hope that analogy makes sense, because it's just the truth. And you cannot sit there and consistently say yes to something that's not what you want and expect to eventually get what you want. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. So the power of not settling is deciding that you are saying no to anything that is not what you want. Period. Period. That man is not talking to you right? No. That man has maybe like 3 out of 5 checks in the checklist, but it ain't 5. No. And I'm not saying have this long extensive checklist, right? Like I've been told many times, sometimes the checklist doesn't serve, but sometimes we be a little dramatic with the checklist. Like some things aren't important, right? But if you're talking about your values, what things that you know you need in a partner, and that person is not doing that, they're not your partner. So do not settle and say yes to that and be unfulfilled. But the other piece of the power of not settling is your self-love will expand, right? Like you will love, like it's you showing yourself so much love of like, I'm only going to give you what you deserve. You know how loving that is to do that for yourself? You will get the best of the best. And if the best doesn't arrive, I'm waiting. Period. Okay. And it's not saying you're sat and you're doing nothing else, but you're not going to say yes to what you don't want. And the last piece of the power of not settling is that the narrative in your mind changes. So for a lot of us that I feel struggle like I have, the story that you have told yourself is that the love that I want is not out there. The type of man that I want doesn't exist. I don't deserve love for some reason because I haven't experienced it yet. All the things. And so the more that this is also you putting yourself out there, right? But the more that you are engaging in going after what you want and you're saying no to what you don't want, the story you tell yourself should over time start to look a little different. And it's not that all men ain't shit. It's that, okay, that was a good guy, but he wasn't exactly what I wanted, but we had a great connection or whatever. Like, it's just so many different things that can change the narrative that you tell yourself from there's nothing out there or all these men ain't shit or whatever to, oh, I just need to be out there more, or just there's differences. Okay, I hope that's making sense. I really do. Mercury, okay? Mercury's in retrograde. But I want to talk about kind of like the closing of this today is the strategy for not settling, because it's easy to tell y'all not to do it. I'm telling you how it's hard. I'm telling you the power of not settling. But let's talk about how do you not settle. And so I think this is, again, I'm hoping and setting intention that this comes across women who understand what I'm saying. Like that, there's no over explanation needed. You get where I'm coming from. You have got to practice being in community with healthy and safe men. So you don't know they're healthy and safe until you are in community with them. So it's going to take you being in spaces with men, generally speaking. Not going out to hang at the barbershop and nothing like that, but being in spaces where men are, where you can have conversations, where you can get to see how they think, and not just shit on them for their perspective, because it's really easy to do that because sometimes they do be saying nonsensical stuff. But being in community with men and with men that are healthy and safe, you get to see another perspective. And you also are not just sexualizing men, because as much as women, we don't want to be seen as just for sex or as just for what we can do. We sometimes do that to men as well. It's like, if you're not going to be my partner, you have no value in my life. There's nothing you can offer me. There's no wisdom you can share with me. There's no community or value that you have outside of that. And so we've gotten into this space of kind of like being transactional with each other for dates or whatever. Like, people be using people for meals or people be using people for sex. It's like, it's all very transactional. And so if you are just in space with men, talking to men casually, just sharing laughter, having fun, that puts you in a different energy as it pertains to men. And you get to see what type of men you like as well. Because like, you may not like what you think you like. Because a lot of times we think we want something, but then when we get there, we're like, oh, actually, no, I don't really like that. And so that's going to happen. That's going to be revealed to you when you are in community with men and when you are actively dating men. Second is changing your consumption. I talk about this in the Get Your Shit Together program. It's one of the first things that we do. It's like, okay, you're assessing where you are. And part of that assessment is like, what are you consuming on a regular basis? That forms your reality. That forms what you believe. If you're seeing a lot of negative images and messages about men, you're going to believe that all men are trifling, dogs, cheaters, beaters, all the things, because that's all you see. That's literally how life works. That's just how it works. And so, what are you consuming? What messages are you receiving about men? What are you watching? Like on TV, what types of are you watching romances where men are loving on women and kind to them? Are you reading books where that is happening? Are you engaging with social media content that is talking about healthy relationships between men and women? Or are you engaging in the polarizing conversations that men are the problem or women are the problem? Like, what are you consuming? That is a valid question to ask yourself. Like, what types of messages have I been receiving about men? And do they affirm or shit on what it is that I actually want? And if they are in opposition of what you really want, it's time to do some shifting. It's time to do some shifting, okay? The next thing you need to do in your strategy, implement this strategy for not settling, is to pray. Okay, pray whoever you want to pray to, all right? But prayer is powerful. Prayer is powerful. Speaking to a higher power, speaking to your higher self. We all have higher selves. You can believe that if you want, or not believe it. I don't know. It's up to you. But praying is literally just speaking over your life what it is that you want, giving thanks for what it is that you want, speaking that out loud. There is power in your words, right? Power in the tongue, life and death, in the power of the tongue. Okay, I think that's how it goes. I ain't been in church a long time. Okay, so pray. Observe what's happening, pray some more, set intention, and start to take action. Yes? Yes. Okay, then you have to show up. So that's the taking action. Show up. Go out. They are not going to come knocking on your door, babe. The men are not going to come in droves. They're not going to flood your DMs. They're not, like, it's just not going to happen. You're going to have to go out into the world and socialize and be in the space. And also, part of that, really, what helps with you being out and about is like you also feel good, because when you going out, you're gonna put on for the put on. You're gonna look good, you're gonna feel good. And that in general, I love to feel like a woman. I love having my nails done. I love putting on a little brow, slicking the edges. I love wearing my perfume and smelling good. Like, all of that also adds to you. Now, I'm not saying only do that when you go out to socialize with men, but like, do that for yourself too. Like, you just get into the energy of like, you like how that feels, you do it more for yourself. That gets you more into your feminine of being just, I love being a woman, you know? Is this third or fourth? This is the fourth. Child, it don't matter. This is the next strategy. Find community with women who are also in a similar space. Single women who are also desiring partnership, who are also dating, who are also interested in men. Like, find your people who get where you are, because it will help you feel less crazy. Having conversations in real time with people who know what the hell you're going through makes you feel less insane. Community is healing. I've said it before. I will say it many, 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 many times over. Find your people. That's going to help you 10 times over, because also they might know somebody. That's another thing. I mean, it hasn't happened for me yet. None of my homegirls know niggas. They already got their niggas. And they niggas get women. So anyway, and then when you are dating, this is the last strategy. When you are dating, set your boundaries and expectations early on. Okay? This looks like telling them, if your phone is always on D&D at 9 p.m., you do not accept calls after 9 p.m. You let them know that. That's what comes with talking to me, baby. If you want to talk to me, you're going to have to do it before 9 p.m. Hello? If you prefer to talk on the phone as opposed to texting, say that early on. You get to recognize, is this person for me or not? Are we compatible or not? Because a lot of the time, what my experience was I was like, well, let me just be what it is that they need. So whenever they call in, pick up. Even if it's before you know you supposed to be in the bed. Even if it's typically when you are doing your rituals to edify your spirit. That's denying yourself what you need for a man. And we do not do that anymore. Okay, we don't do that anymore. So set your boundaries, honor your boundaries. Do not let them push your boundaries over. You have got to honor them just as much as you want them to, okay? Don't be going back, especially early on. Don't be going back and forth. Your boundaries are your boundaries. Your expectations are your expectations. Be very clear. This is this. And I know people talk a lot about like, don't be telling a man what type of man you want or whatever. I don't know if I necessarily agree with all the hoopla around that. I feel like it's good to be clear. This is what I like. And this is not you saying these are all the things that I like for my man to be. You just stating what you like. I like flowers. You do. I like these types of experiences. You do. It's not saying that you don't do those things for yourself, but obviously if you like them, the man that likes you is going to do them. It's another way to find out if that man actually likes you. Because the man that likes you is going to listen. He's going to take notes. He's going to be paying attention. He's going to be leaning in when you're listing off the things that you like and that you want, because he wants you. Okay? And so that is another way to not settle, because you can cut through the bullshit really quickly when they start pushing back. Oh, you tell them something, they're like, oh, I don't do that. Good to know, babe. Have a great life. Never gonna see you again. Y'all, I was at Whole Foods. I was coming out, putting my cart away. This man pull up. We start having a good conversation or whatever. I don't know how we got on this topic. The man tells me he likes Trump. Black man. And I know there are people that do. But tells me he like him. I said immediately, have a good day. Got in my car, left. Nothing more to be said. I had already given the man my number because the conversation was going so great. But that is my boundary. I do not engage with or date men who support that. I don't. And there's nothing you can tell me. There's no way you can make it make sense, rationalize. I don't date men that do that. Period. Like it's simple. So honor your boundaries, set them, know what they are, right? You have to know what they are for yourself, and you will learn more of like what your boundaries are will be the more you date. The more you get in community with people, like you realize, oh, I don't do that. And then for the next one, you're gonna implement that boundary. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta announce them to everybody, but you just let them know this what the fuck I be doing. This what the fuck be going on around here. Okay? So the moral of the story for you today, because this is getting long, this is the longest episode I've had in a while, is your life is your choice. And the choices you make create your life. So if you are experiencing, specifically as we're talking about dating, you're in your single era, you're in your dating era. If you are experiencing a lot of what you don't want repeatedly, look at your choices. Now, this is not saying like you dating and you running into men that just happen to suck. That's going to happen. You're gonna, you don't gotta kiss them. You're gonna interact with a lot of frogs before you meet your prince. That's just the facts of the matter. And I feel like it's the same for men too. Again, heteronormative conversation. You're gonna meet people who are not what you are looking for. That is part of the game. Period. That's just part of how it is. So, but if you are wanting things to last over time and you're realizing that in these longer relationships, you're experiencing what you don't want, I need you to ask yourself, what choices have I made to allow this behavior to continue and to allow myself to experience such frustration? Because who the hell want to be frustrated? Having a romantic partner, that's an intimate connection. I don't want to be frustrated in my intimate connection 90% of the time. I want to feel loved. I want you to feel loved. I want to feel like I love you. I want to love on you. And if I don't feel like I can do that with you, I don't feel like you deserve that from me, then what is the point of the connection, right? Like cut the shit short. You ain't got to do it. You don't have to do it, sis. You don't have to do it. Okay, so again, moral of the story. Take your power back and choose to have what you desire. Focus your energy towards what you want. This is talking about your consumption. What are you consuming? What do you want? Look at more of that. I love romance. I read a lot of romance novels. I watch a lot of lovely romance things. I do watch some bullshit, but it's for entertainment purposes. But anyway, if what you want isn't in alignment with you right now, my suggestion to you is to just find your community, lean on them, have your safe spaces, your therapist, your sister, your mother, your friends who get it and will hold space for you and will not shame you or make you feel like you're insane for your feelings. Find those safe spaces. And part of finding those safe spaces looks like sometimes maybe you get hurt because you express yourself and you don't get the response you're looking for. And you don't get validated and you don't get supported and you don't feel seen, but then you realize, okay, that's not a safe space for me. That is part of the process as well. You will not always be vulnerable with the right person. That's okay. Take it on the chin and keep pushing. Get back up when you're ready. Nobody's rushing you to find a connection but you. So take your time. Take your time. Love on yourself as much as you can. Validate your feelings as much as you can. Express your feelings as much as you can. It is frustrating. Allow yourself to be frustrated. It sometimes feels hopeless. Allow yourself to feel hopeless. It is sometimes heartbreaking. Allow yourself to feel that. That is okay. That's part of the human experience. So I hope that this has helped you. I hope that you feel supported, seen, heard, understood. I do see you and I love you, girl. So that is all I have for you today. I hope to see you again next week. I love you. Bye-bye.